Welcome back to Great Day Houston. When it floods in Houston, so many people feel helpless because they just can't stop the water from flooding their home or business. Or can you? Our next guest was considering leaving the home she loved because they had flooded so many times. But today, she's high and dry, even when everyone else around her is flooding. We caught up with Maria Grillo, who told us about FloodSafe USA.
Maria, you have been no stranger to flooding, and a lot of people know what that feeling is like. It's scary, isn't it?
It is extremely scary. You see everything that you own floating.
Yeah.
Everything floated. Papers, pictures, rugs.
Your life.
My life. This happened like 3 times, but we didn't do too much about it.
Yeah. What do you do about it? A lot of people like maybe dig some drains or they try to put sandbags up, but it just doesn't stop the water.
Yes, we did. One of my sons came and filled these plastic things with water and put them against the doors and the walls. But it didn't help. It was hopeless.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Your
hopeless.
neighbors' homes were flooding as well. No one could get out and help each other. So there's been a couple of other big rain events since then where so many more homes went underwater, but yours didn't. And
Correct.
It wasn't because you just crossed your fingers. It's because you found something you were hoping would work, and it worked. Your husband found this card. He didn't know how he got this card, but it said FloodSafe on it. You had that done, and so after you had it done, you weren't quite sure how it's going to work.
No.
But when the next big floods came, what happened?
It was like a miracle. We called my son. My son came and put a call to Ron, and he came and looked at everything and said, we can do it. And that was like, we can do it. So my husband...
And we're going to tell you folks how he did it in a minute and how it can help protect your house as well. But of course, the rain's falling. You're thinking the same old routine. Is water coming in any place?
None. Actually, we saw the rains come and come and come, and everything was filling up, and we went to bed. And the next morning, we woke up like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're looking at each other, and we're saying, oh, we didn't flood. We didn't flood. Are we trying? What happened?
Yeah.
Are we trying? And we're looking at the rugs, and everything is perfect, and we're thinking, we didn't flood.
Yeah.
Then I find out that my neighbors down the street start calling, and we said, no, we didn't flood, because we didn't. And everything was dry, but we couldn't believe it, because they did a beautiful job.
Yeah, and then the next storm that came, you still didn't flood.
we've never flooded. It rains, the water comes up to the door up front, everywhere in the backyard. The backyard was a complete lagoon. All of this was a lagoon.
Yeah,
but
this whole neighborhood.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood. We did not flood, and it's all thanks to him. And I love them to death. They did a beautiful job.
And it gives you peace of mind, because you were thinking at some point you probably need to move someplace else. But this is the home that you've raised your children in and the home that you'd like to stay in.
And we didn't want to go. What? If we were not here, what would we do?
All right, we're going to go talk to Ron and find out what made the difference with FloodSafe.
Excellent.
Ron, we just got through talking to homeowner Maria, who you helped flood-proof their house.
Yes.
She lives in Memorial. We're in Memorial, which is surrounded by bayous. So for a lot of people, it's not if, but when they flood. A lot of people found out how much your insurance really didn't pay for. If you spend the money up front, you can protect everything and not worry about it. So I want to go around the house and see some of the things that you do to help flood-proof a house.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
Ron, this house was flood-proofed in 2 different stages because they did an addition.
That's correct. When they first called me out to look at the home, they said, now, we only want you to flood-proof the old section of the home. The new section doesn't need to be flood-proofed. I said, well, that's really not true. I said, when floodwater comes, it's just going to run around the house until it finds a place to come in. I said, so you're taking a risk. Well, we'll take the risk. About 2 years later, we got a phone call from them after a flood that night, and they said, come out and flood-proof the rest of the house. We flooded.
Yeah. Now, one of the key places that water does come in, of course, is the front door. And one of the concerns a homeowner had was, I want my front door to look pretty. I don't want it to look like it has flood doors. Well, guess what?
True.
It looks pretty.
That's right. I told her, I said, listen, your flood doors will look just exactly like your doors, because we're going to reuse your doors and retrofit them and make flood doors out of them.
When you can say my house is now flood-proof, that adds extra value to your home.
We are told by the real estate community that a home, once it floods once, loses 35% of its value. If we flood-proof and it goes through another flood successfully, its value goes back up to where it was originally.
Ron, a lot of people think water will just get in like a door or perhaps a window if it's low enough, but they don't think about water seeping in through the stone.
That's true. This particular home has faux stone, and the requirement for us to flood-proof this is we had to remove the stone from the wall. We put in a new underlayment back behind it and did our flood-proofing technology on it, and then replaced the stone. A typical masonry home has brick or even real stone.
Which is porous.
And it has an airspace behind it. And so we don't remove the stone or the brick. We work on the existing surface and we put a transparent absorbent sealant over that finish, and water cannot penetrate it.
Yeah, and Maria said, she goes, when they do the work, they restore the house right back to the way it was.
That's right. And you can't tell we've been there. We don't change the aesthetics. It looks just the way it did before we got there.
You know who can tell you've been there? Water.
You're right.
Because it can't get in.
It can't get in.
Not only do you make it waterproof behind stone, but basically any type of layer that a house has on the outside, for example, wood.
Yes. Wood, hardy siding, stucco, it doesn't make any difference what the exterior wall finish is. We can flood-proof it.
Yeah. Another area that people might forget about is in the garage.
Yes.
Let's walk on in here. And on the other side of this wall, of course, is living space.
That's correct. Typically a garage is sacrificial. Folks don't want to pay the money to have the garage flood-proof. But the wall separating the garage from living space is flood-proof. You could have 3 feet of water in here, you'd have nothing inside the house.
A lot of people have been led to believe the only way to protect their home from flooding is to raise it. That's a whole lot of money and a whole lot of inconvenience.
It is. If your home has flooded 3 feet or less, you do not need to elevate that home. That home can be flood-proofed. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers limits us in a wood frame structure to 3 feet unless it has been structurally enhanced by an engineer in some manner. But 3 feet, we can flood-proof that home for a fraction of what it costs to elevate it.
Yeah, because to elevate it, you're also out of your home, you've moved all your furniture, all that type of stuff.
That's correct. And our work, number one, we're not in the house, we're outside of the house. So people live in their homes, they can have their home completely finished and decorated, and we can come in and flood-proof it without making a mess inside at all.
Yeah, the cost will vary depending on how large the home is.
And windows and doors.
Yeah, but whatever it is you're doing, you're protecting the inside so that you don't have to move out. We know that insurance doesn't cover everything, right? So this is peace of mind, which that in itself can be priceless.
That's correct, and it only takes us a week, maybe 2 at the most, depending on the size of the home, for us to do our job. And you're never out of the home for even an hour.
Yeah, this is a good time of year because we're coming up on hurricane season, but as we know in Houston, anytime it rains could be the rain that brings flood to your home.
You're right, that's true.
We spent so much time together. It was like having Jesus around because everything was so calm and I was so nervous, but he made it all calm and he walked on water and it was wonderful.
He didn't part the Red Sea to stop the Red Sea from coming into your house, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Good old Ron.
FloodSafe USA has a special offer for Great Day Houston viewers. Right now, get $800 off flood-proofing systems valued at $8,000 or more. Financing is available. You must mention Great Day Houston. To get in on this offer, call FloodSafe USA at 832-653-9058, 832-653-9058, or visit them online at floodsafeusa.com.